Hello everyone, I'm Marcus from MiloX News, and today I'm bringing you a detailed analysis of the stock market for SPY and QQQ for today. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel for daily and weekly updates on the stock market. Last Friday, the S&P 500 continued to decline, and we are getting very close to retesting the critical support level. The SPY ETF fell by 0.76%. And we continue to make another lower low on the daily chart as we approach the breakout of critical support, which is around SPY 429. Given that we are in an uptrend, I believe there is a good chance that we will bounce off that support zone and then continue to higher prices. In an uptrend, higher lows and higher highs are established. However, there is also the possibility that we go below that support and hit the trend line, which could be a bit of a bear trap as we break below that critical support. We could go down to around SPY 426 to 427, and that could still be our higher low. Of course, there is always the possibility that we go all the way down and fill that gap at 423. I don't believe anything happens in straight lines, and because we are in an uptrend, we likely need to put in some kind of lower high before we continue to lower prices. Therefore, even on the way down, never rule out the possibility that we bounce to a lower high before the next lower low, because just like uptrends are higher lows and higher highs, to get a downtrend, you will eventually need that lower high into a lower low. Remember, this is an uptrend, so all those bears that continue to tell you the stock market is going to crash are simply wrong. If we do end up crashing, it will be due to a black swan event, and that means you are taking the lowest probability odds, because predicting black swan events is nearly impossible, and if those bears end up being right, they simply got lucky. They are unable to predict a black swan event. It is simply fear-mongering because fear sells. Do not buy into the fear. This is an uptrend, which means we are still looking for a higher low into a higher high until we break out of the uptrend, which will require what I just drew here of lower highs and lower lows and breaking through critical support. For example, if we get this structure and continue to put in lower highs and lower lows and continue taking this path lower, then we will have to say the uptrend is over. But the only thing that will tell us the uptrend is over is the price action, and that means we need the price action to prove it. We cannot guess. There have been dozens of bears all year long, going all the way back to December of last year, who have continued to tell us this is still a bear market. However, we continue to go higher, and we are breaking many of the bear market rules, where we are now retracing well beyond 50% of the bear markets, which really tells us that we are likely still in a bull market. So, the bull trends are still alive and well. Today we are not going to look at weekly charts, but if you look at the weekly chart, it looks like SPY is trying to get to 450, and that is exactly our price target in that range between 448 and 451. However, before we get there, we need to put in this higher low, and we need to find buyers at critical support, and then that will tell us we are likely going to 450. So I still think SPY is going to 450. And I still think we are going to see a pullback and a correction that is not yet complete. So we are still looking at weakness in the short term, which is why I have been drawing this pattern down towards 430 before we go any higher. Even though no one knows for sure, this is what I think is happening, and this is the scenario I prefer. But don't forget that I think we will eventually put in that higher low before we get to the low of this pullback before going to higher prices. Block out all the noise and know these critical levels. And now, I'm just going to give you two very simple levels to pay attention to, and I'm going to call it SPY 426 and 429. If you watch those two levels, and the price bounces from those levels, and we start to see high volume impulsive buying, it's likely we've seen the bottom of this pullback in the higher low, and we're going to higher prices. If the price action breaks below those support levels, you need to instantly think that something else has happened, and then look for more and more evidence from the price action that we are entering a downtrend. Nothing is more important than following the price action, and no one knows for sure where the market is going, even though I'm sitting here telling you that I think we're going to put in a higher low around this support before the next higher high. That doesn't guarantee that I'm right. Remember, the market doesn't care what you think, and the market doesn't care what I think. So, you need to be very flexible, and you need to let the price action do all the work. And we won't know what the price is going to do in this support zone until we see evidence of that support moving. If we get the purchase and we get the balance and we continue in the uptrend, we can instantly start preparing for that trip to 450. About the NASDAQ 100 fell by 1%, and the QQQs are still holding this support zone right around 362. But we are starting to close below the negatively sloping EMA 5 as we approach the positively sloping daily moving average 20. Just like with the SPY, I believe we are going down to 430. In the QQQs, I believe we are going down to 355. And I think there is a good chance that it will be our higher low before we continue higher and get that breakout above 370. However, if we break below 355, we also have critical support here at 347. If we break the support at 347, then it is likely that we will have a full correction that will take us to 337 or the filling of the gap at 333. So, just like I said in the SPY, generally when you enter a downtrend, it's not going to be a straight line. You're eventually going to need to see that higher low in the next lower low, and that's where you're going to see the impulsive rejection of that higher low in the downtrend. Until we get this price action, we won't know for sure, and if we start to bounce as soon as we hit 355 or that daily ascending moving average 20, it's still possible that it's our higher low and that we're going to higher highs. So remember, this is an uptrend, although in the short term we are getting this pullback. In the short term, this is still a short-term downtrend, but in the long term you can clearly see that this is still a medium-term uptrend. That's all for today's analysis, folks. If you found this information helpful, please don't forget to hit the like button. Your support helps us to continue providing these insights. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to the MiloX news channel to stay updated with our daily and weekly market analysis. We're always here to keep you ahead of the market curve. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.